Hello, this is Tom Cloud with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. It's been a kind of a very quiet week in the metals market as prices have stabilized and are trading in a very, very narrow range. And technically, everything still looks like for this week is going to be in a very narrow trading range. The one thing that we want to talk about today that is the Greek situation in the austerity program. They start a meeting later this week on April 24th to try to decide whether they're going to exit the European Union or they're going to stay in it, as we continue to see they don't even want to take their $7.2 billion that was structured to be given in May of this year, and it just be an austerity Ponzi scheme because Greece knows they can't repay it. And of course, all markets, stock market, bond market, gold market, oil market, everything is focused this week on Greece. As we knew several months ago, we said in 4 months we've got to deal with this problem again, and here we are 4 months later. So right now they have an interest payment of about $700 million that is due in 2 weeks, and they'll meet this week to discuss it. And on the other hand, the IMF is trying to give them another $7.2 billion that they say, why should we take it when we know we can't repay it? And as I've said in the past, the key thing here is not just Greece, but what will Italy, Portugal, Spain, Ireland do that are just in this bad situation financially, and would this thing crumble down? So we've got to watch this very closely to see. And of course, this week, when every time these negotiations come up, the dollar is artificially pushed up because people go to the dollar in U.S. Treasuries for short-term safety because they feel safe in the dollar. So it pushes it up, it pushes the stock market down, the gold market down a little bit, or it stays extremely steady. And that's where we are right now as we look through that. As I look here at my notes, we have the U.S. dollar up around 98. As we've said last week, it could go back to 100 one more time, we feel, before the dollar really starts in a sharp drop. And here, as I record this on Monday, the stock market is back down to where it started the year at 17,825. It's basically gone up zero. Gold's only up 1.25%, and silver's only up 3% for the year as I record this. And certainly a lot of that will have to do with what the dollar does on the short term, and we still think it's in trouble. As we look at the IMF, they're waiting very closely to see how this thing turns out in Greece also, and it could be very detrimental. The Shanghai Exchange last week, as I announced, started putting 23-hour spot prices. It's been very successful as traders in New York and all the hours were open are now looking at Shanghai's fix. And yes, they look at the LBME, the London Bullion Market Exchange fix, but just as a secondary concern or looking at it. But so far in the first 3 or 4 days of trading, we've seen the Shanghai leading the spot prices, and the LBME basically looking in and not making the price much different. And this should continue. I had a lot of calls last week about palladium as the great car numbers came out of China, and palladium made a run all the way up to 788 before pulling back over the weekend on this news out of Greece. And I still think palladium's a great buy at anything below 800 per ounce spot price, and I still think we'll see palladium move up to 900 this year, but it might be later in the year. So right now it is goes up and down based on stuff out of Europe and news out of car sales out of Japan are the two driving forces. One driving palladium up, the other driving palladium down on the short term. If any of you need to talk to me about your IRAs, if you're interested in a self-directed precious metals IRA, you can give us a call at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812. And if you didn't request a copy of the new gold currency that's being advertised for later in the year on billboards in China, give our office a call or email me at tgcloud@bellsouth.net, and we'll send you a copy of the billboards in Europe right now already advertising the gold currency. And it's like the world's not even looking at it. It's like the world thinks they're smart enough to catch gold or silver right at the bottom and catch the stock market right at the top, when the real problem is going to be the physical demand when these things hit, and we think they'll hit later in the year, September, October, as we continue to look at all the possibilities for the stock market, bond market, gold market, silver market, and certainly we've had a strong recovery in the oil market, and that's also good for gold historically. If you need to talk to us about rare coins, we still believe you should get out of those and get into bullion coins, because all these rare coins are telemarketers making large markups, trying to tell you that gold bullion is going to be confiscated, which we totally disagree with that statement. So hopefully next week we'll have a little more information, but right now everything in the precious metals market world stays in a very narrow trading market. Till next week, this is Tom Cloud signing out.